Fight Hop Podcast.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, dear Fight Hop viewers. My name is Romeo. This is my brother George. And today we are joined by a very special guest, a Bkfc title challenger, Josh Dyer. Josh, thanks very much for joining us. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, absolutely. Doing pretty good. Yeah, just enjoying my Saturday morning over here. Just got the kids some eggs, ready to chill out before I head over to boxing practice.
All right, listen,
Nice.
I wanted to give you a little bit of an introduction. Josh is an MMA vet. You fought a lot of really good fighters in MMA and in BKFC as well. You fought Joe Riggs in BKFC, correct?
Yep, that's
Yeah,
correct.
Joe Riggs is a big name fighter. Whatever he fights, he fought Nick Diaz. This guy has a really decorated career in UFC, and you fought him, and there was some controversy there, right? I'm not trying to start the show off the negativity, but that was the first thing that hit my eye when I saw your resume.
Yeah, unfortunately, we clashed heads in the first
Yeah,
round, and they
yeah,
ended up stopping the fight. So, yeah, not exactly the way I wanted it to end. You know, we
yeah,
were kind of going back and forth. He had just dropped me, so I was like, all right, I got to go in there and drop this guy. And
yeah,
unfortunately, I leaned left to throw the right. He leaned right when he was trying to throw his left, and bam, that southpaw orthodox style just bam
yeah.
smashed.
Yeah, yeah, that happens. That happens. I have fought and sparred a lot of the Southpaw guys, and it's so different. It's tough. It's tough for the righty, especially if you're not used to it.
Yeah.
They're used to you being traditional stance, but you're not used to the Southpaws. You don't have a lot of Southpaws in the world. So yeah. Listen, wanted to tell you something to start off the show with this. Basically, BKFC, man. I mean, I've been to UFC, and it was a disco. It was amazing though. Sold out crowd, everything, the whole nine yards. Then I've been to like a high level elite boxing show. Same thing, right? Sold out crowd, main event. Everybody's the hot, the place is full. And I've also been to other like elite MMA organizations like Bellators. I've been to LFAs. I've been to PFLs. I've been to CFFCs, Ring of Combat, all of it. But I've never seen a crowd quite like that. So basically, what I'm trying to get to is UFC and high level elite boxing, and the BKFC is the only time I've seen in recent years in this country a sold out crowd in a big arena, like a big arena. So when I was in Philly, it was my first time going to BKFC show because I had a friend fighting. Itzo Babulaize out of Philly, Marquez MMA. Shout out to Itzo, shout out to Sean Brady. And dude, that place was freaking packed in Philly. And that place in Philadelphia is huge. It's enormous. And it was sold. I was not expecting it. So basically, as far as the selling out, there's three things that can sell out a crowd like that, like a combat crowd today. UFC, like elite boxing, and BKFC. That's it. Nobody else can sell out the way these three sell out. So uh, basically, yeah, that just compliments to the BKFC the way they grew the sport in a very short amount of time. Like, BKFC has been around for what, like the last 7-8 years now?
Yeah, I believe it was like right around 2017 whenever
Yeah,
they fought. And I was lucky. I got on their 12th show and I didn't really have any bare knuckle experience or anything like that. I had one fight in Valor. So I just got in early, which is good because they have thousands of people applying every month to come
yeah,
and fight for these guys. And I just happened at the right time. So I consider myself pretty lucky to have been able to
yeah,
sneak in there and kind of make an impression early on. But yeah, those crowds are crazy. People like watching
yeah,
that bare knuckle style. You know, there's a lot of cuts, a lot of knockouts. You know,
yeah.
I think people like seeing people get knocked out, and there's some fights where we'll have like 10 fights and 13 finishes, and people they get real crazy about that.
Yeah. Yeah, and listen, David Feldman, he did a tremendous job. The guy did a tremendous job, and now Conor McGregor on board, it just raises the profile of the organization. Really, I was really impressed. Not just so forget about the sold out crowd and the good fights, and that's of course that's all nice and good, but the show. I felt like I was at the UFC event, because UFC is the only like a combat event where you go, and between the fights you don't get bored. It's still a disco. Like you still feel like you're at some kind of event. You just don't get bored between the point. Even if nobody's fighting, you still, you know, you don't feel like, oh, when this is gonna start. You don't feel like that on the UFC at the UFC event. And I had the same feeling at the Bkfc. So shout out to Bkfc, man. You guys are doing a great job. Listen, I wanted to ask you about some of the major differences between Bkfc and MMA. But I wanted to ask George, do you have any major questions for Josh, George?
I mean, I got a lot of questions here, but like,
Please.
actually, I wanted to start off with asking you, like, how did you actually get to know about us, and do you have a Georgian a sparring partner or someone at the gym, or
Yeah.
have you heard of the country Georgia yourself? Because we're the first ever Georgian MMA podcast.
Yeah, so my coach, Austin Peterson, we're getting to that point where we realize we need to start branching out. We need to get on more podcasts. You want to get more fights, you want to make more money, you got to get yourself out there. You got to start, investing in the social aspect. To be a good fighter, but you got to get out there. And so he was just like, "Hey man, I'm gonna message podcast. I need you to get there. We need to hop on these guys and just have a good time. People
Yeah.
show people who you are." And I was like, "Well, I've been kind of a quiet guy for a while. I'll hop on Facebook a little bit, talk a little shit here and there, but I've never been like big into social media. So this is the first time I've ever, really just like started reaching out towards people and everything, and taking some tips from other people about like getting out there. But no, he found you guys and he's like, hey, these guys are going to be good. They got a great podcast, and this would be great for us to get on there. And I've heard of Georgia, the country. I don't know much about it, but we took a couple classes back in school, and we learned about like different places in the world and everything. So we're trying to expand our influence just a little bit over here.
Yeah. Listen,
Anyway,
also
welcome,
shout out to
man.
Austin.
Welcome, and today is the 200 episode 200, so it's like an anniversary for us, and we barely speak English on here. People are gonna be surprised. I mean, we've had some high profile guests as well, like Matt Serra, Ray Longo. That's the only time you hear us speak in English. Yeah, yeah. But anyways, man, great to have you on, man.
I give you guys some props. You guys are doing great.
Thanks, man. Thanks. We had Ilia Topuria on before he was like a superstar that he is today. We had him way before.
Wow.
Way before. Yeah, first time we talked about Ilia was 2019. People didn't even know him in Georgia, and we had him on in 2021, I think, when he was still like two fights in the UFC. So yeah, like this show was invented by us for Georgian fighters, because they started doing really good in the UFC. They showed up in the UFC out of nowhere. They started taking names, and you never like trained with any Georgian guys?
Well, ironically, I was actually born in Georgia, but the American Georgia. So yeah.
Shout out.
I don't know too many people that are even from.
No, there's not a lot of Georgians in Georgia. No.
Well, you're Georgian, man. You're on the right show funny. Anyway. You're on the right show.
Well, listen. After visiting here, after visiting this show and talking to us, you're gonna walk away a little bit more Georgian than you were before. So it's all good there.
Yeah.
Listen, I wanted to ask you something about.
No, that's actually really funny.
Yeah. Everybody does. Even Ray Longo, he's 50% Georgian at this point. He's been here twice, man. He's talked to us twice on this show.
Perfect.
And Matt Serra was like, "You guys are Georgian. There's no way I can say no to you guys."
Yeah. I know. Yeah. It's good to have it's a classic example. When Matt Serra came on the show, there was a classic example when the reputation precedes you. Because Georgians have such a good rep now, thanks to people like Marab, Ilya, and other guys who are good fighters, also good people. And they leave a good name for the country.
Exactly.
And when you reach out to somebody, they know you're not a cunt, so because you're Georgian, so they come on the show, you know. So that's a good thing. Yeah.
Josh hasn't decided yet, Romy.
Absolutely.
When the episode is over,
He hasn't decided. You're gonna decide at the end of the show, yeah, whether we are or we're not. Yeah, that's correct.
Well, your Georgia is probably a little cooler than the Georgia that I'm from. So in America, the Georgia is like kind of like where all the hillbillies are from. Like people like the joke is like lower IQ and shit. So like leaving Georgia and then moving to the rest of the U.S., I had to learn how to talk a little bit better and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, so
I hear you.
That's funny.
I actually love the southern accent, man. And myself, I've never been to the States, man, but I like hip hop. So, you know, I know like the places, you know, like when you say South, I'm like thinking about Ludacris and Outkast and all that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, he's talking about Andre. Yeah, no, listen. I mean, South is nice. I love the hospitality. I love the weather. And I get what you're saying with the hillbillies and the racism still down there and this and that. But listen, there's got to be good people down there too, right? I mean, there has to be.
Some amazing people.
Yeah, amazing people. Yeah. Listen, it's like that wherever you go these days, you get some good people, you get some shitty people. You know, what are you gonna do? It is what. Even in New York, we're supposed to be this, you know, metropolitan city with all the advanced, you know, educated people and professors. We got all these big schools, and you still get some shit faces here, man. It's just a part of life. It is what it is. Listen, I wanted to ask you about transformation from MMA to Bkfc. I've seen guys who've done this transformation from boxing to Bkfc, but it was for like one fight. They jumped over it, jumped right back. It was from MMA, same thing. I have a couple of friends who did that. They went to Bkfc for a fight and then came back to MMA. But what is it like though? Like now you're permanently like you just made the move, this jump over to Bkfc, and you've been there permanently. And we're gonna get to your title fight after this next. But what's the transformation like? Talk to me about that. Because it's so different. You know, you think about it, it's still fighting, but it's so different, right? On one hand, you can't hit as hard, right? Because your hands are not taped up. For instance, your hands are not taped up. You can't hit as hard. Even like when you hit the mats, if you don't tape your hands, you can break your hand. So you can't really hit that hard. But yet you get so many more knockouts in Bkfc. What's that all about? You know, like talk to me, explain to me, because I'm not really. I'm trying to understand it. I mean, starting to enjoy it more and more, but I need to be explained as well. But somebody, and you have a lot of fights in the Bkfc already, so you're the best person to ask.
Yeah. So whenever I first transitioned over, I was thinking that I wouldn't be able to hit as hard because I've broken my right hand quite a few times with the gloves on back when I was doing MMA. And so I went to my first bare knuckle fight and I did break my right hand. And I also finished him with the right hand because I don't like to stop. You know, if I break something, I just hit harder with it. I'm like, well, it's already broken. Might as well just go ahead and break it more. And then I also broke it the second fight. And then the third fight, I injured it a little bit. And then since then, it's like once you break your hand a couple times, it seems like mine just doesn't break anymore. So I hit people as hard as I can now. I don't hold back at all. I just throw with everything. And so I do get quite a bit of knockouts, but I kind of had to strengthen my hands up a little bit and do a lot of like knuckle push-ups, you know, with my hands closed.
Oh, okay.
And you know, you do see a lot of people, they'll come from MMA and they're thinking, you know, oh, MMA is so much better than boxing because, you know, we train every fighting style in the world. So we theoretically should be better than these bare knuckle guys. But the problem is there's a little bit of a learning curve when you show up. You know, the shape of the ring's a little different. So you're going to have to adjust your footwork a little bit. You know, you no longer have corners to get stuck in. So you have just a little bit different environment. So you can use different movement patterns. And a lot of MMA guys come over and they get owned. You know, they think it's going to be one way, and then they get hit with a bare knuckle fist, and it hurts a lot more. You know, and you get cut a lot more. And you know, the gloves can kind of block a little bit more surface area of the punches, so the bare knuckle can squeak in a little bit more. So precision gets to be a little bit more important because, you know, somebody throws their hand up to block, well, you can fit your You can fit through that little hole right there and still get them. So there's just a lot of tricks you got to learn in a short amount of time. And I see a lot of people come and then they jump right back to MMA. They're like, nope, this wasn't for me. But for me, when I showed up, I've got, for one, I got a pretty good chin. So when I get hit, it doesn't really hurt me too much. Two, I got some pretty big hands, man. Like, these some bitches, like I can really hit somebody hard with these guys.
That thing looks like a telephone from the 90s.
Yeah, I've always had big hands, so when I hit somebody bare knuckle, I mean, if it doesn't knock them out, they definitely have a mental reset, and they're like, I don't want any part of this. So it seems to me that I was built for bare knuckle, and it took me like 10 years of mixed martial arts to find this, and now that I'm here, I'm not leaving bare knuckle. The shorter rounds work better for me. And in MMA, as a pro, you fight for 5 minutes. In bare knuckle fighting championships, you fight for 2 minutes and then you get a 1 minute break. So I can afford to throw on an extra 30 pounds of muscle, and then I can cut that weight before the fight and then rehydrate. And now instead of, trying to run a marathon, which you don't need to, you treat it like a sprint, because bare knuckle is more of a sprint, and you can take guys out a lot quicker. They can show up with all the cardio in the world, but if I show up 30 pounds bigger than you and I hit you hard, then I could break your spirit pretty quick, with my strength advantage. So it's just different. Like I don't need to be able to go for 5 minutes. I just need to be able to dump all my energy for 2 minutes and then recover for 1 minute and then do it again. So it's a different sport. You got to plan accordingly. So when I see people show up and they're skinny and light and they make weight easily, I'm like, you guys are sacrificing a lot of strength that you could have built with your body frame and your weight division. So I cut roughly 35 pounds for every single fight. So, and I do that in about 5 days of pure water weight. And then I rehydrate and I go in there and I smash on these dudes because I have such a size and strength advantage in that weight division.
Yeah. Dude, I love the how insightful you are being right now and actually getting me more, because you can ask George, when it comes to fighting, I'm the nerd. I'm the guy who likes to fucking dig in the details, talk about the footwork, the technique, the evolution of the sport, who does what, why, this and that. Like people like Volkanovski. Volkanovski is like a fucking, like a, it's a trick for me because he's got so many layers to his fighting style. So yeah, I love this stuff, man. And plus, I want to remind people real quick that the only organization you fought for in bare knuckle is Bkfc, which is basically the equivalent of UFC in bare knuckle fighting, right? If there is one, that's gotta be BKFC. BKFC is the bare knuckle fighting's UFC, basically, right? And
well, I did have one fight before in Valor bare knuckle for Ken Shamrock's promotion, where I fought Dane Sayers. He was a UFC veteran, where he trained under George St. Pierre, and I knocked him out in roughly 90 seconds.
Wow, Ken Shamrock as well. Another OG for sure.
Oh yeah, he's still jacked.
So you had one fight in there? Because I couldn't see it. Maybe I was maybe I didn't pay attention. I don't know, but I thought it was all in BKFC. You do have 100% finishing rate though, right? In BKFC.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. Every fight I've won in the last 12 years has been a finish.
Nice.
I like to knock these out.
Wow, that's Don Fry would probably give you a lot of compliments. He loves guys because he was like that too. There was a show with Don Fry, and he would talk about guys, and the most praise he would give to guys who finish fights. Like he would like talk about some great champion with fucking 15 wins in a row, but if the guy didn't have any finishes or a lot of finishes, he wouldn't be very complimentary towards the guy. And he loves guys who finish fights. And if you think about it, it makes sense. Yeah, you should be trying to kill your opponent, right? Not score points. But listen, right? It is a game, and people like to play it sometimes. So, it's a debatable topic, that's for sure. But listen, I love exciting fighters. What we all do, it gets the crowd excited. And your upcoming fight, it's for BKFC title. It's a big one, right?
Oh yeah.
You win this one, you're a world champion. You're a world champion, man. And then it's the dream for everybody who starts fighting and wants to do it for real. Being a world champion, whatever it is, MMA, kickboxing, boxing, Bkfc, it's a big deal. And you're fighting Mike Richman.
Yep.
And is it for middleweight title?
They consider it light heavyweight.
Light heavyweight, right? But
it would be middleweight in the UFC.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
You know, boxing, they change all the weight classes.
Yeah. Yeah, talk to us about that. Talk to us about you fought this guy before, right? Or no?
No,
you never fought this guy.
No, ironically, Mike Richman, we fought on the same card back in Valor under Ken Shamrock's promotion, and I knocked my opponent out, and Mike was beating his guy that fight, but his opponent started crying that he like got hit in the head with a headbutt. And it was clearly not true. I mean, we all watched the replay, and the guy was lying, but the ref didn't catch it. So Mike got a no contest, and so it was hilarious watching this dude cry. He headbutted me. Yeah. And you know, they played the replay in front of the whole crowd, and you know, you see Mike hit him with the left hand, and then the guy's crying. He headbutted me.
Bro, I don't understand it. Like, I don't understand. You gotta be. I mean, what's the point? You know that there's like 1,000 cameras. This shit.
We all seen it. You know, we were standing right there. And Mike hit him with the left hand, and then this dude was crying that he got headbutted so he can catch a draw instead of a loss. But that was funny. That's when I first saw Mike, and I was like, you know, Mike, and he kept his cool. You know, he was chill, and I'm like, I like this guy. He seems like he has his mental aspect under control. Yeah. And then, you know, the next thing you know, the very next time I fight for BKFC, Mike's on that same card, and he goes and beats a dude that had just fought for the heavyweight championship of the world, and he beat that guy in like 90 seconds. And I was like, God damn. I was like, Mike, I thought you were like a 135er in Bellator, and now you're over here beating on a heavyweight that's got you by like 10 inches. And so I was like, it's been cool. Me and Mike, we've been hanging out every now and then for a while. We've been friends for a bit, but he's also got a 100% finish rate. You know, he's finished every opponent for the last 7 years. If you go back, so yeah, you got 2 finishers going at it, but it's going to be fun, man. I mean, he just beat Jared Warren for the world championship, and I've beaten Jared Warren twice. The first time it took me 3 rounds. The second time I knocked him out in the second round, but when I threw the punch, he turned his head and it hit a little bit behind, and so they gave us a no contest. And it was really unfortunate. You know, I didn't think it was my fault. Even the commentators were like, you know, it's not your fault. If you throw a punch and your opponent looks away, you know, and it changes where the punch lands, it's not your fault. But it is what it is. So in my opinion, I should have been the world champion 2 years ago. But it is what it is. You know, it creates drama. It's fun. Mike went and beat his ass for me, so I appreciate that. And now I believe 2 of the best fighters in the world can actually fight for the real belt. You know, I didn't think Jared deserved that belt, and I do believe Mike deserves it. But I also believe that it's a legitimate belt. You know, I think it's been mine for 2 years. So I'm like, hey, I'm just coming to take what's mine. Nothing personal. I like
nothing
Mike.
Personal.
Nothing personal, dude.
Yeah, I was gonna say nothing personal. I got Mike against Mike. You just said he's a great guy. Listen, I wish all the but you're with us right now. You're the guest, so I hope I really hope I'm gonna write you a congratulation text on that night of May 10th. You know, May 10th, Utah, Bkfc. Everybody, make sure you tune in because it's gonna be. Listen, Bkfc is getting really exciting for me, man. I'm gonna tell you the truth. In the beginning, I treated Bkfc as a slap fighting. You know, I was like, nah, this is come on. But then I started watching, and it got me, man. Now I'm a viewer. I try not to miss a lot of shows. Obviously there's so much MMA going on, and there's so much analytics we have to do on this show. You don't have a lot of time. But when I heard about that show in Philly, I got excited. And actually, after going and seeing what was going on there, I was so impressed. Now I take it more and more serious every time I watch it. So I'm definitely gonna be watching this one for sure, 100%. And
for real. I would just want to ask Josh about I really like how you are like so cool about, I mean, you guys are coming together, right? You got a history together, and you said you're cool with him and all that. You guys been hanging
Yeah.
out. I mean, does it help if you actually don't like a guy to want to punch him in the face in a fight? Does it actually help? Does it make it harder that you're kind of like boys right now?
A little bit, yeah. I don't really care, a lot, because to me, it's just business, where he signs a piece of paper because he thinks he's better than me. I signed my contract because I think I'm better than him. And we're just two people that are, just wanting to see who's better. That's it. It's nothing personal. But yeah, I wish it wasn't Mike that I had to fight, because I think he's probably my favorite person in the whole sport. So
Wow.
I'd like to, not have to fight him. But, I'm also honored, right? Because like I want the best for him. And if anybody's not going to have the belt, I'd like it to be him. So I I'm cool with that. I think that he's earned it. He's put his time in. He's had setbacks as well. Like I said, that dude crying about his head and shit.
Yeah.
Mike has been through the ringer, and he's still here. He's got the heart of the champion. I've been through the ringer. They sat me for like a year at a time. I feel like I got a championship robbed from me. I feel like just a lot of things have been working against me, but yet I'm still here. I'm right back again, fighting for the world championship again. You can't keep me down. Like I got the heart of the champion too. And
Yeah.
that makes for a good fight, putting two guys together that both know who they are and and believe that belt deserves to be theirs. So I don't really fight any differently depending on whether I like a person or not, because once again, at the end of the day, it's just two people trying to figure out who's better. And if you're better than me today, congratulations. And if I'm better than you today, hell yeah, I worked real hard for this. Nothing
Yeah.
personal. Well, one of us has to get better. We got to improve. We do this sport because we want to be the actual best. And if you're not the best, then you don't deserve that belt. So go work harder, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, I love the respect that you have for each other. I mean, I can feel it from your side, and I'm sure the feeling is mutual.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We've hung out quite a few times, and we always got along really good. Always respected each other, and it's a fun sport. Like, you meet some good dudes in this sport. There's some crazy guys too, but
I know. Yeah, man.
you can
Yeah.
find some good people in
Yeah.
combat.
Yeah. Yeah. It's such a cutthroat, dog eat dog kind of environment in this sport, and people that drives people on edge, and people
Yeah.
act out a lot. Like, I've seen a lot of crazy shit going down in this sport, and I've also seen, it's rare, but there's some people with really, really high morale, family loving, educated, cultured, decent individuals. And when you see them, you gotta hold on to them. Like, that's
Exactly.
that's what I do. Like, in the beginning, there was a time when I didn't have any friends in this sport. I had no friends. I didn't make, but then I started meeting good people that I felt like I don't want to get away from them. I want to stay close with them.
Yeah.
And now I just hold on to them like, that they're my own family. I will never let them go. They'll always be a part of my life. But it's hard to find them, because this
Very
is a
hard.
this is a fucking toxic sport, man. People,
Yeah.
a lot of them are
Yeah.
too. And I'm glad you're actually acknowledging that, because a lot of people, they like to play dumb and not admit that that's the fact that it is so. But
They
it is
can't
what it
handle
is.
the truth.
Yeah, I know.
3, 2, 1, 0, and liftoff.
Listen, I wanted to ask you about the training. Obviously, what I want to know is, basically, I know, obviously, when you make a jump from MMA to Bkfc, the training regime is going to change. The way you train is going to change everything. But you know, when you train MMA, the grappling is such a crucial part of it. And it's like a
Exactly.
drug. You need it. It's like a therapy. You let the animal, the negativity out when you grapple, because you always go 100%. When you box, you can't do it 100% every day because it's not good for you. But with grappling, you get to go 100% all the time, and you work your shit out. You don't. The reason why the MMA guys, we don't go to therapists and shrinks is because we grapple. That's our therapy. We don't need a shrink because we let the that animal out by the way of grappling, going hard at each other, right? And do you do like being a BKFC guy now full time, right? Do you still do a lot of grappling or not anymore? You don't
Hell
have time?
no.
No,
No, I don't do
no,
any grappling anymore.
no.
And that's funny because I used to be a wrestler, back in high school.
Yeah,
And then I spent years grappling. And that used to be my favorite thing to do. I
yeah,
used to grapple, 15 hours a week just going to town.
yeah,
But yeah, once I went to bare knuckle, I was like, thank God I don't got to do that shit anymore because you start running into like higher level grapplers and then you get your ass kicked like 100% of the time. And
yeah,
for me, I was like, fuck, man, these jujitsu
bro.
guys like coming over from Brazil, they're tough.
The thing
So
is, I don't do grappling anymore either, but I have another reason. I was in a car accident last April,
oh
and
shit,
I'm waiting for the surgery approval now for my lower back, the fucking epidural shots in my lower back, in my knee, in my hip, all of that shit. So I can't physically like grapple right now. But as soon as I'm able to, I can't fucking wait to get on the mat, man.
yeah,
I can't.
kind
I'm
of
like a
loosen up a little
maniac.
bit. Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
just take
yeah,
it easy,
yeah,
ease back
yeah.
into it. Ain't no point in
Yes.
busting no hips up.
Yeah. But listen, yeah, I mean, I get your point too. When you do it for a long time, you start developing some problems with your neck, with your back, and then when you find the sport that you're good at, where you don't have to grapple and you don't have to be on a mat anymore, and you don't have to go through that pain, I get it. You kind of like you feel this freedom, right? And you can just
Yeah.
stand and do other things.
It
Yeah,
does
I
feel like
get.
freedom,
Yeah,
because I've been doing it for like, I've been grappling since I was 13 years old. You
yeah.
know,
No, that's a
so
lot.
after a while, it's like, I'm
Yeah,
34. That's 20 years. I'm over this shit, man.
yeah,
Like I'm
bro.
ready,
Yeah,
and boxing is just so much easier because it's like, well, what would I
yeah,
rather do? Grapple someone for 25 minutes or
yeah,
just go knock that dude out in 90 seconds? I'm like,
yeah,
yeah, if
yeah.
the pay's the same, let's just go knock that dude out and
I
then go
I
home.
remember Roy Nelson talked about it years ago. He was like, at the beginning, I was trying to submit everybody because he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and you
Yeah.
don't get a lot of heavyweight black belts. That's a rare thing. And then one day he was like, I realized I had a lot of power. I hit the guy and he went down, and I realized, oh, this is so much easier, less work. Why
Yeah.
don't I just fucking do this next
Yeah.
time? So he started knocking people out instead of submitting them.
Dude,
So,
Roy Nelson was fun to watch.
oh yeah, big country man.
You're listening to Fight Pod Georgia, weekly MMA podcast with the Cartuerians.
I actually want to know, is there
Yeah.
any kind of specific preparation or training when you're doing a bare knuckle, or is it really a lot like boxing, or is there anything specific more? Is there more to it?
Yeah. So I had adopted an approach so that I could knock everybody out. So my training program is mostly weightlifting and building explosive muscle
Yeah.
so that if I hit you, which I will, I'm going to rock your shit. Like I build so much strength that like it's only a matter of time before I hit somebody and they go down. And like I got that reflex ball. I don't know if you've seen it. It's like a headband with a string and a ball attached to it. You punch
Yeah.
that.
Right.
Yeah, I know the thing.
So there's different levels to that ball. Most people only know about the tennis ball, but
Mm.
I found one that's like almost impossible to hit. It
Small?
weighs, yeah, it's small and it's light and the band is really elastic. And you punch it, and it's like
Yeah, yeah.
it's lightning fast. So I've been practicing that thing for like 4 years. So I don't miss much. People, when they watch me fight, they think that I'm like uncontrolled, that I'm chaotic, and I'm just going crazy all the time. But really, I just create a bunch of chaos, and then I use my accuracy to find people. Because if I let them fight their fight, they can snipe me.
Yeah.
You know, but I create a bunch of chaos and I let my hands find the head the way my hands find that ball. And I just make sure that I've got a shitload of power behind it, and I hurt people. So I usually work out 2 to 3 times a day, and I only box like once or twice a week. So and then the rest of the time I'm hitting that ball and moving my feet and just getting my accuracy down. And I mean, there's probably better ways to train, but I figured that this worked for me pretty good. I've beaten pretty much everybody I fight, because in bare knuckle, yeah, you can spend 20 years becoming a great boxer, but it only takes one punch to change that boxer into something he's not. So I just say, hey, if in bare knuckles, kind of like a brawl, if I know I'm going to hit you and you're going to hit me, I'm just going to make sure when I hit you, it changes your whole world. So yeah, that's kind of how I train.
That's a good point, and I want to ask you. There was a time I remember when people thought that the side to side movement, that makes boxing interesting and good to watch, and the footwork and everything else, that wouldn't work in MMA. And then here comes a guy like Topuria, who's as close to a classic boxer in MMA as you can get, and he's fucking everybody out. I mean, he is fucking creating car crashes on these guys, legends, right?
Oh yeah.
And he's as traditional of a boxer as you can get at this point right now in MMA. And it's still evolving, right? So bare knuckle, being as young as it is as a sport, how long do you think, or will it ever happen that some guy will come in with a traditional boxing stance, with good footwork, cutting corners, this and that, not engaging in a dirty boxing style at all, and will like dominate? What do you think? Maybe not in heavyweight, or like upper weights, but lighter weights maybe. What do you think? Is that possible? Is that coming? Is it coming soon?
I would say it's definitely possible. It's not very common though.
Yeah.
In bare knuckle, there's a lot of things that work against boxers that try to do that. And one of the things is the clinch. Like we have a clinch that we can grab a hold of dudes and just go crazy and make it dirty. And the footwork is good, and a good crisp boxer is always going to be dangerous.
Yeah.
But there's just a lot of opportunity to find shots by creating like that brawl style, closing the distance, covering up and going for it, but I mean, I'm all for footwork, like I'll tell you right now, like if you got fast feet and you can move like you're ice skating, you're probably going to do good no matter what. But I've only seen 1 or 2 boxers come over with that really, really, really nice, like fluid motion and do good. And that one's Austin Trout. He's very good at that traditional boxing style, and he came in and did great.
I've seen him fight. I've seen him fight in Bkfc. He's good. Yeah.
Yep, and he looks very traditional. However, a couple other ones have come over and they've gotten destroyed instantly. It's just a little bit different, but in the back of your mind, you would think bare knuckle boxing is just boxing without gloves. So if you just come over and try to say you're a world champion boxer, you should be just a world champion bare knuckle boxer. But there's just a different element. It doesn't quite translate as well, and a lot of that just has to do with that clinch and just different angles, and you're in a circular ring now instead of a square. So there's just a lot of different differences that you wouldn't think matter, but they do translate into different outcomes quite a bit.
I think gloves, like in boxing, I think when the boxer comes from Bkfc, I think, well, footwork pays the bills. That's what they say in boxing. But I think when somebody comes over from traditional boxing to Bkfc, I think the amount of how much they depend on the size of the gloves also plays a lot of role, because like someone who covers up, does the Philly shell a lot, he's not going to do well in Bkfc. But if you got an aggressive boxer like Duran or Mallorca or someone like that, Marvin Hagler, rest in peace, I think a guy like that would always do relatively good in Bkfc. But if you have a guy like Floyd, who relies on the Philly shell and protecting his face with the big ass glove and doing that stuff, and he's not very hard hitting guy, and he's not, he doesn't have like a killing speed. I think a guy like that will have a hard time, definitely. That's why I think Paulie Malignaggi.
100% correct.
Yeah, he couldn't handle the physicality of like when Paulie fought Artem. Paulie's a
Yep.
better boxer, but he couldn't handle the physicality. There was no gloves to protect him, so that's why he did as poor as he did. So yeah, it's very interesting, man. People, it's crazy how much how much depth there is to fighting. At one hand, it's this brutal thing where you're just trying to kill each other, and then there's a science side to it where you can just fucking analyze it forever. Never
Exactly.
for just you can't go for on and on. It never ends. So yeah, it's very
There's a lot of
interesting.
tricks to this sport that like if you can learn like 10 tricks that can really like change the game for you. Like when you're watching oh my gosh, I'm losing his name. Who's that professional boxer that he had like 400 amateur wins and only like one loss and he beat him. He's a lighter guy.
Lomachenko. Yeah.
Lomachenko. Yep. So, he's a southpaw and he's always working his way around that right side. And he'll like do that little like hop in where he like cuts the right angle and he'll take his right glove and smack the glove down before he
Bring
lands the
it.
ball.
Yeah.
Yep. So in bare knuckle, that's even more effective because your hand can grab. So
Yeah.
you can grab somebody and rip that hand down before you throw that punch.
Now,
So
when you grab a hand, do you have to let go or can you hold on to it and then punch?
yeah, you got to be quick, right? Because a ref can call you for anything, but yeah, they want you to like scoop. They don't want grabbing.
Okay.
But I mean, really, if you do it fast, nobody's gonna catch it, right? You just make that meat hook and you just and then boom. So there's a lot of what I call it guard destruction. You can destroy the guard. People have their hands up thinking they're blocking. You can grab that shit and peel it back, and then you create your opening. So just having your fingers able to grab is great. So I do a lot of grip exercises. Like I pick up like a lot of shit. I do like plate holds, and I'm always making my grip strong so that way I can do quick movements and then powerful grip pull down. And people don't expect it. You create the opening for the punch, and you almost can't miss. Like it's really effective. So guard destruction works great.
Have you tried the plates? The plates? Have you tried
Oh,
like scoping it, like playing with it in the air, like jogging with the plates? That's a good one too. I love that one.
Yeah,
I
do that.
Yeah, I don't do, like I said, because of my fucking injuries. I can't do most of the stuff I love to do now. But it's a good exercise. It's a good
It's
exercise.
absolutely
Yeah.
good. Strengthens your fist so you hit
Yeah.
harder. And like I said, for guard destruction,
Yeah.
it's very, very good. Or the hook, you pull their head down, you can push them, pull them, you can feed them into your punches and stuff. So a lot of dirty boxing involved with this.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, the judo guys do a lot of those grip
and wrestlers too.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
So guys, we've been on like over an hour, man, and I seriously don't know where the time went, man. And I still wanted to
insane.
I didn't fucking feel that. Yeah.
I still wanted to touch up on some popular subjects, like especially with the MMA. I wanted to ask you, Josh. I don't want to take a lot more of your time, but
this guy has kids, man.
For real. But before we get you out of here, we gotta give something to the Georgian combat sport fight hoppers. You know what I mean? What do you think? Are you watching all the like fights weekly in MMA, UFC as well?
I used to back in the day. I just don't have time anymore. I got 3 kids at home. I'm training for a championship fight. I don't have time to watch any TV. I'm either I'll run in or train or boxing or lifting or trying to keep this house clean. So no, I just don't anymore. When I get out of this fight camp, I'll probably watch a little bit more, but it's just I feel so guilty sitting down and watching anything because there's always so much to do.
Yeah, I know, man. Bro, what is it like living in South Dakota after Georgia? It must be fucking freezing over there right now. Still, you guys even have spring? Like it's like June and then summer, right?
There's no spring, dude. It's no spring. It goes right to summer, and it's crazy. I like see people out like shoveling snow in shorts, and I'm like, what in the heck are you guys wearing, man? And they got a smile on their face.
Yeah,
they're just happy as hell, just happy. And I'm like, why are you like happy to shovel snow? Like it's gonna snow again. And now you're going to have to be right back out here doing it again. And I'm like, I don't like doing like the same thing over and over for no fucking reason. Like,
Yeah, bro,
that's a
I
waste
can't
of
I
time.
can't deal with the snow. I can't stand the cold. And this is me talking as a Georgian. I mean, Georgia is what, almost 75 to 80% mountains, and I'm talking crazy, like Kabir says, crazy mountains. Those mountains are fucking
Yeah.
huge.
What kind of
And I'm
elevation
not,
do you guys have?
huh?
What kind of elevation do you guys have?
What's our, well, George, you probably know this. What's the
all of a sudden I'm coming in handy right now
yeah.
for the elevation.
No, I can't Google it, but it's one of the, it's probably definitely probably like top three in the world, our highest
No, it's
our
like
high, yeah,
between
definitely.
I believe it's like over 5,000 meters.
Yeah, something
Oh,
like that.
wow.
Yeah. Yeah,
Dang.
yeah, man. It's tough, and people live in those places. Like people, you got villages built because the story goes. The reason why we started building villages in those crazy high mountains is because when the enemy attacked, it was for the impossible for them to conquer, and that's
Yeah,
why,
because they
like,
can't breathe.
yeah, that's why Georgia. I mean, I don't want to get political or nothing, but Georgia is the only still only Christian country left in the region because we fought off everybody, like the Persians, the Turks,
Yeah.
everybody. So it
You
was
guys are
like,
soldiers out there.
yeah, that's hence why we are so good at combat, because like we have a top three judo team for
Okay,
a
I actually
while now. We
double
always
checked
take,
that and it was right. It's like around 5,000 something meters. So
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
You guys, I'll
It's
tell you
pretty
what,
cool,
you guys
man.
are smart. The Georgian
Yeah, it's
race,
pretty
you
cool.
guys are
Well, yeah,
geniuses.
it's the whole culture, not just us. Dagestan,
not only
Chechnya, they
that,
did the same thing.
it's the wine, my brother. The wine.
The wine.
Okay.
Yes, yes, yes. Listen, I want to, well, by the way, I don't want to forget this. I want to shout out your coach, Austin. I didn't know he was your coach, actually. I just thought you guys were like buddies. But listen,
Yeah,
Austin, if
we're
you,
both.
I want to tell Austin, I will text him as well. If he ever wants to come on the show and talk to us, just whatever. He doesn't have to have a topic or a fight coming up or whatever. If you ever want to talk to us, Austin, our door is always open, brother. Always.
That's very cool. I'll make sure he sees that. Dude,
Yeah,
I want to come to Georgia now. I want to
bro.
come and check out these mountains, bro.
Dude, 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 yeah, you will be. If the George, what is that movie called with Guram? They did a movie in the mountains with him in Georgia. Remember the name of the movie? It's a short movie.
Yeah, it was by
Born in War, I think. Right?
it was Block Acid documentary. If you just
Yeah,
YouTube Block Acid, Guram
yeah.
Kutateladze, the Block Acid did a really nice documentary on it. But
Yeah,
I
there's
mean,
this UFC guy from Georgia. They did a short 25-minute movie with him in the mountain. It shows they go like deeper in the mountains, and it shows you some of that, or anything from the Khabib documentaries when he was coming up, and they did the whole shit in the whole stuff, the thing in Dagestan. They showed the mountains. Yeah, it's pretty wild, man. It's pretty wild.
Dude, I'm going to check both those out.
Yeah. It's good stuff. Good stuff, definitely. Yeah.
listen, I want to
Well,
Absolutely.
wish you good luck in your fight. I know
yeah.
you don't need luck, and those monster hands are gonna make your own luck.
Yes.
And hopefully, after your fight, we can get you back on and congratulate you. It was
Dude,
an honor meeting
absolutely.
you.
You guys are awesome. I got to
Definitely,
hear more about
likewise, man.
Georgia.
This was so much more interesting than I was anticipating, and I mean this as a compliment. And I wish you best of luck on May 10th. Nothing personal, Mike, but Josh is our guy now. So listen, come back with
Yeah,
that belt and showcase it on Fight Hub and everywhere else. Man, I wish you all the luck.
absolutely.
Make some money, get the belt, and come back to us, brother.
Yeah, we'll come visit Georgia after. We'll figure something
Yes,
out, man.
bro. I've lived in America for like 20 years now, so
Okay.
maybe we could go together, huh?
Dude, we got to go. I
Yes.
know I'm not going to be able to breathe up there, but I got to try.
No. There's some good spots where you can get some oxygen too. Don't worry about
Okay.
that. All right, brother. Best of luck. Thanks for coming on. This was awesome, man. The over an hour flew by like I didn't even notice. So this was
Yeah, dude, you're
you're the
telling me I
best,
was
man.
just a shock. Well, you guys take it easy and thanks for the opportunity.
Thank
Absolutely,
you.
man. Our pleasure. Our pleasure. For real. Thank you.
Thanks a
All
lot.
right. Enjoy the rest of your day.
know what's live and direct.